Welcome to the Misfit Boyz podcast, where the hip bone is connected to the ow bone. My name is Cheyenne Goglis, and I'm the moderator, moral compass, and sometimes referee of the show. I am joined today by...
future curling Olympian, Mikey B.
Armando Nahara pallbearer, Jeff.
Gentlemen, start your beverages. And I see that Michael and Hunter have also pulled their beverages from the same area of the fridge today.
We did. It was, kind of
The official, I gotta say, probably the official beer of the podcast is the Sunset Orange. I feel like that's probably made the most appearances in the pre-game intro. Is Sunset Orange?
I agree.
The old standby.
It is a popular choice here, and both of you guys tend to favor Blue Moon anyway. So the shock top. It's essentially the same kind of type of beer, but the Sunset Orange, it definitely does have a.
Oh man, it tastes a lot better coming out of Jeff's fridge too. As opposed to, it's just got that little extra tangy. I don't know, a little bit more bite.
Beer
a
from
tangy afterbirth.
A beer always tastes better from somebody else's fridge. Well, you guys opted for the show, the official show beverage.
Cheyenne has gone with the best designed can I think we've ever had on the podcast.
Yes,
sure.
It is one of my favorites. It's one of my leftover beers from Savannah, which it's still still good. It's not stale or nothing. But emergency drinking beer, very bold yellow can with stark black lettering to let you know that this is emergency drinking beer.
Great name, great design.
Great taste too, I will say.
And it does. It is a good beer. Yeah,
it is. It's fun, but it's actually a really good beer. So speaking of emergency drinking beer, maybe Armando could have used some of this for his injury earlier tonight.
Yeah, smash glass in case of breaking your ass.
Trip over the goal crease and detach your hip bone or whatever the hell happened.
It was not the hip bone,
the ass bone, whatever whatever it is.
First off, we are toasting a resounding victory in the consolation bracket.
Yes.
For the Misfit Boyz, a 7-3 victory.
I think the final was 7-3.
7-3.
Big night.
A couple of beautiful goals from Mr. Michael Becker.
Mm-hmm. One while in the air, Bobby Orr style.
Yeah, Bobby Orr style. Got his legs taken out from underneath him and still snuck it past.
That's it. Just got to finish that job. I am not pulling a chase and missing that damn breakaway. There's no way I can let that happen.
Harsh words for Chaz Blackberry tonight.
I don't know.
Deserved. I got to say deserved.
Played great. First period. And then we saw
I've never
the real
seen him
Chaz
move
Blackberry.
that fast before.
He had some hand-eye coordination going on, batting pucks down to his stick and creating plays, passing, giving goes.
No, he looked great. We were all sort of on the bench. We were all kind of shocked, honestly.
We thought there was someone else under that mask, to be honest.
We said he was playing like a man possessed and literally possessed by a different, better hockey player.
Someone who actually knew what hockey was. Yeah. And then came the nosedive. After he got complimented, then comes the boom.
Had a couple really good chances where he just, and we actually had a couple guys on the team who looked like they momentarily forgot how to play hockey. Jensen
definitely forgot that slap shot or lack thereof. He had sort of a wind up like he was going to shoot it and realized he could skate in and looked completely lost. And then didn't even get a shot.
Then had a duck of a slap shot.
And it went in.
Then just fell down, I think.
Tripped over the blue line.
Yeah.
He did. He made a fantastic job.
He redeemed himself. He redeemed himself, scored a beautiful goal where he skated through 2 or 3 guys and just floated it right over the goalie's glove. So ultimately redeemed himself. I wish I could say the same for secret agent Chaz Blackberry.
And Armando. There's no coming back for Armando.
Now, unfortunately, Armando was not able to join us tonight due to working, with having to work. He's doing.
Well, first he broke his ass.
First
that was the start of it.
That did not
exacerbating a slip and fall at Publix.
Yeah,
I don't want to comment on that. I assume there's pending litigation. Yeah. And then has a lot of work to do. Has a sick kid.
Yeah.
So. And in addition to the pain of breaking his ass.
He totally did. He broke it right in half.
Just absolutely mullered it. Yeah,
it was hilarious.
Oh my gosh, it was hysterical.
Glad it wasn't me.
Well, it was hysterical once I realized. Like, I'll be honest, because somebody said that he like kind of toe picked himself and that he hit his knee. And I'm worried. Yeah. I'm worried ACL. Like, I'm thinking he's out a year.
Done.
So I was worried. And then when I saw him standing along the glass, I was like, "Oh, he's fine." And then we taunted him from the ice. It was sort of a reverse peanut gallery situation.
Yeah, that was the hysterical part because we held him off the ice, and then he went back in the locker room, and then like 5 minutes later he came out and he was only partially undressed. He still had his skates and his lower gear on just because he was just trying to move around and try to work it out, and then catch the last few minutes of our game, and that's when the heckling started. Good enough to stand, but not good enough to skate, huh?
Okay, bitch. All right.
He was running stadiums before we saw him. He was running up and down the stands.
But when I saw him fall, I saw the stick of the opposition player get caught up with him. I thought maybe he hit his head. On the way he fell, I thought he hit his head. That's why I came all the way across the ice to make sure he was okay, but he never hit his head. He never lost consciousness or anything like that. And then initially he said it was his knee, but he when we were in the locker room, he was talking about his right rear hip bone, right pretty much where he landed,
which
for his
was,
slip and fall.
To be fair, was already injured.
Yeah,
he had already injured that slipping and falling while reaching for a pub sub, I assume. He was reenacting one of those videos where they throw milk up in the air, on YouTube.
The milk challenge.
The milk challenge. He was reenacting that. So 6 of one, half a dozen the other.
Never a dull moment.
But I was very worried because he went down in a way very similar to my dad, who was playing hockey and went down and ended up tearing, I think, his MCL or spraining his MCL and tearing a partial tear of his ACL.
Oh my!
Where his skate got caught on the ice and somebody fell on him and sort of he had nowhere to go and sort of bent it and tore his ACL.
Yeah.
And his has not played hockey since.
Wow.
So,
jeez, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I tore my MCL at work a number of years ago. When I was working for a uniform company, and it was just a slip and fall, landed back on my leg, didn't think anything of it. Next morning, it was complete fire, man. And it ended up being a slight tear of the MCL, and they went in and cleaned it up, but there was nothing to repair. Yeah. But it was so painful. It just so if anybody has any kind of orthopedic injuries like that or whatever, I completely feel for them because especially a joint, or on a foot or a hand. I mean, you're using all of these parts of your body every minute of the day, and you don't realize it till you hurt it, and you cannot move it.
It really exaggerates the use of that body part.
Yeah, and the ACL. I know my dad. It hurt, and it was swollen, and sometimes he would aggravate it. Tried to come back a couple weeks later before he knew that it was a torn ACL. I think he suspected, but he was able to walk around and all that. And he tried to come back, and he said he felt fine, and then he got on the ice and pushed off, and it was immediate. Where he said, "I can't skate." Because I think the ACL is like a stabilizing ligament, and he just, he had no stabilization there, and he was out there for warm-ups and tried to push off, and just wasn't happening, and he had to take the night off because he'd driven me and my brother to the rink. He had to stay and watch the entire game, and it was like an 11:30 game.
That's all right, Dad. You watch.
Yeah, I think he regretted having children at that point.
But so it was a good night tonight for us on the ice. I could tell that both teams were just skating back just a little bit, but once the score got close, you guys finally tightened the laces and threw a few more goals in the net, especially after
we did
being lifted by the whole chant, Para el Capitan, after Armando left, they scored 3 more goals.
We carried him off the ice and we carried him to victory. We did have, I gotta say, the single worst line change I think I've ever seen in a game, where it was a long change, it was a long shift, and our second line was just dog tired, and they were looking for any excuse to get off. And the puck kind of got floated back into you, and I think they thought that you were going to freeze it. So the forwards came off the ice, but you kept it alive, and puck got turned over and they had like a 5-on-2 in the offensive zone.
They basically were running around the neutral zone.
Spoiler alert, they scored.
Yeah. I normally phrase it uncharacteristically since it was it's kind of a laid back game or whatever. The referee's like, play it. There's no one around you. Play it. Normally I ignore him. I just keep phrasing it. But I was like, you know what? Yeah, okay. I see Rob and I see Jensen, or I saw Nada and Jensen. I'm like, oh, okay, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
So offside. Okay. And oh my gosh, I'm surrounded by red jerseys, and then they were unable to get it out of the zone because they thought I was freezing it too, because that's what I normally do. So I'm never going to do that ever again. Lesson learned.
That was the second weird moment in the game. We also had another one where the puck got dropped. And Mike and the other center just didn't do anything. Just stood there, and everybody probably sat there for a good 10 seconds.
Easily.
And everybody just stood around and kind of was like, I don't know what's going on.
A little bit of premeditation. I'm skating up to a circle. I'm like, you want to just sit here and see if anyone skates into the puck? And he was all for it. I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. I'm looking around. Everyone is skating everywhere, but to the center dot where the puck is just sitting, and we're just sitting there bullshitting, having a good time. Yeah. And eventually 10, 15 seconds later, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go past to Jeff now, across the rink. And he's like, all right. So that's what we did. And yeah.
I saw you talking to him, and I wasn't sure what was going on, but when the puck dropped and it just froze there on the ice, everybody's just standing at you. I was expecting you guys to do the old school face-off, when you do a street hockey.
Sticks together.
Knock sticks, 1, 2, 3, go.
That's probably my favorite now. My previous favorite to tonight was, I think, when you and Mike Hawk, turned your sticks upside down.
Oh my god.
Oh yes.
That was still a good one.
That was a good one too. Yeah. He got me there. Yeah. It was all in good fun. Yeah. If it were a meaningful game, obviously that would have never happened. But yeah. We're just, trying to have a good time, trying to keep friendly with the other teams. Had a very good time.
And, I think very, no hard feelings.
Yeah, I think the real dangerous moment was Jensen beelining from center ice and creaming one of their players right in front of Cheyenne.
Yeah, I was okay with it.
I gotta say, it seemed like it was all in good fun. I mean, he got a penalty for it.
Yeah,
he got a penalty for it, and then later had his stick kind of knocked out of his hands or dropped it to avoid a hooking penalty, and looked like he was going to kill somebody. Ultimately, he spared. Showed mercy.
We dodged the bullet with that one for sure.
But a lot of people don't realize how close to death they are when they're near Jensen.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like,
until they see the flare in his eyes, like,
here it is. Yeah. Murder one right here, boys.
They don't. It's like they don't hear the bullet, until it strikes the concrete right next to their head. Like that was. That's Jensen.
Yeah. Man, what a hit that was, though. That was.
It looked great, even though at that point
clean hit in a regular game.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely clean hit.
Yeah,
but in men's league, they frown on that kind of thing.
Yeah,
sometimes. I can't say all the time. Sometimes.
And then was it last night? Last night against the Kings, the Lightning were playing. It was they retired Vinny's jersey, Vinny Lecavier's jersey last night.
Hot ticket. I saw a lot of Lightning fans looking to get tickets.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I think it was $80 for 305 upstairs.
Wow,
which was on the corner. $80. That's not an $80 seat. It was going for $80. So no, but people really wanted to be there, and it started at 5:00, which is by the time I was heading to Ybor to go to do the night parade, the interstate was already jammed. So we took side roads to get into Ybor to avoid all of that. So definitely knew it was going to be a packed house for that. And then when I got back, or actually it was more this morning, I saw the save of the night, probably the save of the year. Vasilevsky was down on his knees. He's scanning the puck, could see it clearly through the Kings forward, watched it the whole way, looks to his right, sees the open man who's shooting on him, then wraps his glove behind his back and catches the puck, which looks like it would have gone in. It looked, from the angle, it's like, maybe it's just going to go by. It looked like that probably would have hit the post and gone in for sure. So.
Oh yeah, no, I think it was definitely going in. I'm just shocked at the presence of mind to, he had the paddle down on the ice, and just the presence of mind not to try and lift up, and use his blocker to make the save.
Right, hug the post or something like that.
Yeah, but instead to throw his glove behind. And Mike, I think we were talking about it earlier, and you said like it's clearly a move that he has practiced.
For sure.
And we've seen goalies make saves like that before.
Oh yeah.
But
even this season, beginning of the season, Jonathan Quick made a great save. Very similar down in the split. Comes just basically wraps his body around and right behind his back, just right out of midair, spinning, gloves it.
Yeah.
But
basically. With Quick, I think of him as being sort of a more intuitive, sort of Dominik Hasek style goalie, where he's sort of more free form. He's using the studio space.
Right.
Yeah. Vasilevsky, I think of being as more of
he's a technical guy.
A technical goaltender, but you could just absolutely tell that was a movie practiced.
Yeah.
And just put the presence of mind to do that in as quickly as he
game
did.
situation
was incredible.
I think it was close. I think it was 1-goal game at that point.
Yeah.
Not too sure.
It ended up being a 1-goal game. Yeah, the Lightning came out on top.
But yeah, great save. I've seen Holtby do it a few times, but you gotta cherish those moments for sure because they don't happen too often.
The most interesting thing to me about the save was sort of the way that it crossed boundaries. Usually the NHL hockey is pretty insular. If a spectacular play happens, you don't really see it anywhere else. But it seemed like, I think it was on the top page of Reddit today. It was at the SportsCenter top 10 play. Mm-hmm. You really saw sort of an expansion of that particular save that captured the imagination of people out who aren't typically hockey fans.
Right.
They could see it and they would go, whoa, and I just saw stuff like that on Facebook. It's anecdotal, but I just thought that was very interesting how that sort of crossed borders to become sort of this huge play.
Yeah, I'm sure they, the Lightning grabbed a few more bandwagon fans after that one. Absolutely.
All the bandwagoners are already on board, man. Yeah. We're loaded for bear, ready for the playoffs.
Trust me, I know. They'll be gone once you guys are knocked out, but that'll be fun to watch.
No, that was it was a tremendous save. I unfortunately was not able to go for that, but I caught a little bit of a clip from the news, and it looked like Vinny was getting very, very emotional. And it's tremendous that the organization's had such good character players and at a key time when this organization needed it. Vinny and St. Louis and Dave, they needed those guys. At a time when there was a little bit of chaos going on, and just
but definitely to grow the game, and obviously, Le Cavalier and St. Louis were instrumental to Lightning winning their cup.
Absolutely.
I will say one thing I did think last night. Obviously, Le Cavalier is a great player for the Lightning, and he 100% deserved to have his jersey retired. But I did think that there should be an inverse ceremony for retiring his number when you've done very badly for another team. Specifically thinking of Mr. Le Cavalier's time with the Philadelphia Flyers. Where he was complete and utter dog shit. A waste of space, a regular healthy scratch who was making probably like $7 million a year.
Wouldn't mind that.
When his contract was traded was an enormous sigh of relief, and maybe one of like a top 5 move for Hextall so far. Was getting rid of that contract.
Yeah, and getting back to the Lightning, there's a lot of talk about them in the trade deadline, looking for another defenseman, and who else but to go for Ryan McDonough, the New York Rangers captain. There's been a lot of chatter that the Lightning are very close to closing in on a deal for this guy. It's been a few weeks now, and the players, the picks keep changing, rumors and all that, but it's looking like it's about to happen.
So you think McDonough goes to
Tampa? Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Tampa's making play. Boston's making a big play.
Does that inspire confidence in you that the Lightning are essentially rebuilding the Rangers' defensive core?
Yeah. Tampa Bay Rangers, baby.
We only have just the 2, right?
You got Girardi, you got Strawman.
You would make 3, right?
Was Callahan.
Okay.
So they had Boyle last year.
That's true.
Yep, that would have been 5. This will be 5 Rangers within the last, I don't know, 3 or 4.
I think on the plus side, that was the 2014 Stanley Cup final team. On the downside, it's 2018.
Yeah, honestly, it might be just the Tampa Bay organization's way of not letting good talent go to waste in New York. Holmquist will probably be following soon thereafter.
Yeah, he already said he's not going anywhere. He's not waiving his no-move clause, but you guys don't even need him. You should stick with Vesey.
I did think it was interesting. The Rangers came out with a really interesting
letter did.
Earlier this week.
We got this full statement right here.
Where the Rangers, despite being 1 point out of a playoff spot,
they were 3 points out at that point.
3 points out at that point. Essentially said, we're giving up on the season. We're sellers, and you're going to be seeing Rangers fans. We're going to be seeing a lot of familiar faces leaving, and by that they mean McDonough, Rick Nash, and Grabner.
Yep.
Those are, I think their contracts all expire.
Yep, they all expire
after this season.
Well, McDonough is next season, so he's basically a season and a half rental.
Okay, so yeah, he probably has the most value for the Rangers to be moved.
Absolutely.
But you also heard rumors about Zuccarello, who has a pretty cap, but despite being I think 31, still has a pretty cap friendly contract. They could probably get a lot for him, but he's also still a really good player even at 31. Who you think they might want to keep around to develop they've got 2 really good young centers, I believe.
Yep, Ketel and Anderson.
Who we expect to see next season.
Absolutely. They're killing it in the AHL right now. And if we can just add a few more prospects up front, we've basically got a top 6 defensive core sitting in the minors just waiting to play. And, it'll be a quick turnaround. Not one, maybe 3 seasons or so, but, it's something every team has to do at some point in time. You can't just keep, gunning for the cup every year and coming short, because then you empty your prospect pool, your draft picks and all that, and then you wind up tanking for another 10, 15 years.
So as a Rangers fan, are you okay with this? Are you okay on essentially saying, we're not going to win the cup this year, that's it?
Yeah,
let's come back and reload for next
year. We're definitely not looking good, that's for sure. And I think it's all right. I just don't want. It's going to be hard to watch for the next couple of seasons if we let go of all those guys. It's going to be a young team. It's going to be a fast team, but it's going to be an inexperienced team. So it's going to be a couple of tough seasons, but you gotta go through the highs and lows as a fan, and it is what it is.
I imagine
you gotta have faith in the system.
I imagine you're okay with Nash going. Who I don't think he really ever endeared himself to Rangers fans.
Yeah.
He hasn't been a very good player the last 3 seasons or so.
Yeah, if we can get, first round pick for him and prospect or something, that'd be fine. And then if we could re-sign him in the offseason for $4 million, why not? It'd be another good veteran to have around. I'd rather get Grabner back if possible, but Nash would be, he'd be a good second.
Okay. How do you feel about McDonough going, captain?
It's going to be rough. It's I believe he's only the 13th captain in history, so it doesn't change too often. Mm-hmm. And who do you pick to come up next if you're trading all these veteran guys? You can't make Lundqvist the captain, but I wish they could. So I don't know who do you choose? That's the next tough question.
I think that's if they do deal McDonough away, whether it's Lightning or somewhere else, they're going to have to replace him, and that frees up money for to keep Nash, keep him as a veteran, keep him as a captain. He's an excellent player. Maybe getting that responsibility of being a captain will embolden him to really take the kids under his wing and have a good team. But honestly, I don't see anything wrong with rebuilding and having a clean slate, because the game is all speed now. It is complete speed.
Absolutely.
You need that youth and that speed, and the learning curve is it's quite great in many regards, but I think the kids are ready for a challenge, and we're going to be seeing just how well talented we have, what kind of talent we have here in the Olympic hockey competition, which is going to be starting, I think Monday or Tuesday, or just started?
The women have already started.
Yeah.
But the men start, I believe, Wednesday or Thursday. And but it's as far as the Rangers go, just want to get one more side note in there. The best way to start this rebuild would be to fire Alain Vigneault.
There's our boy.
Fire Lane Vigneault, because on Friday, which the press conference was Thursday, on Friday, Vigneault blamed this entire slump on Henrik Lundqvist not playing up to par, being an average goalie, and not, regaining the form that he had, 4 or 5 years ago. And that's just complete arrogance, I think, on his part, because he's a shitty coach. He's lost the team. He won't admit it. And Lundqvist is the only guy who comes and plays every night. There's no way you can blame the guy.
Yeah, I don't see it.
So here's the question. Lundqvist, when I first read that letter and they said, you're going to be seeing a lot of familiar faces leave, the first thought was they're going to trade Lundqvist. Because do you really send that letter out for Rick Nash?
No, right.
No, because Rangers fans.
Well, it's going to be McDonough. It's mostly
after sort of thinking about it for a little while, I said, okay, it's probably going to be McDonough. He's the guy the rumors are about, and plus Lundqvist doesn't want to leave.
Right,
Lundqvist wants to stay there.
Rebuild or not, I'm in one team from his entire career. It's
exactly, and he likes living in New York.
Absolutely.
I don't think he wants to leave. He wouldn't want to go to Dallas or someplace like that.
Phoenix.
Yeah, definitely not Phoenix.
They will definitely be buyers before the trade deadline, which is February 26th. So we got another, 12 days or so?
Just about.
13 days.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of movement that's going to be happening here in the next couple of weeks.
So here's my question about Lundqvist. I know he's not going to be traded, but do you think the Rangers as an organization, if he didn't have that no movement clause, they would be trading him?
He'd be gone. Yep, for sure.
Gone. Yeah,
absolutely. We have Igor Shesterkin in the system. His contract in the KHL ends, I believe, 2020. So, you only got Lundqvist for a few more seasons, and then this guy's taking the reins. He's been unbelievable. Yeah. Best goalie in the KHL by far.
Lundqvist's cap hit, I think, is $8.5 million a year.
Yep.
He's going to be 36 next month.
Yeah, and then that's the thing, is Lundqvist going to be okay with being the backup once this guy comes in? Because this guy is absolutely the future.
$8.5 million a year, yeah. I think I would stick around.
He'll sit around for a little bit.
I'll ride the pine for $8 million.
Yeah, well, the competitor in him tells me that he won't be happy.
No, I agree he wouldn't be happy, but I think there's a possibility that if, let's say next season it comes to that, I think maybe his stance on being traded might change if the right situation came up.
Yeah,
if there was
to be a
contender,
surefire contender.
Yeah, it would have to be a contender, somebody who maybe had their regular goalie, go down, and then maybe there might be a chance for him to go, win a cup, and retire on top.
Yeah. And spoiler alert, it will not be the Chicago Blackhawks because they're nowhere near ready to win another cup.
Well,
as much as you think they are.
I don't think Lundqvist would go. Would want to.
If it turns out to be the Pittsburgh Penguins, I will be spending 25 to life behind bars. So,
I don't think they have the resources to trade him. I don't even know if they can.
Gary Bettman will find a way.
They'll find a way.
Yes, he always does.
The Bettman Penguins will be triumphant once again.
Well, I thought it was interesting. I think the two teams that could maybe use Lundqvist are the two teams the Rangers would never trade with.
The Capitals and the Penguins.
Well, I would say the Islanders would be one who have an absolute dog shit goaltending situation. Maybe a pretty decent team, but just a terrible goaltending situation.
They got the offense, that's for sure. They're scoring every damn night.
And also maybe the Philadelphia Flyers, who another team the Rangers would never trade with, who aren't quite as much a surefire contender, but who have the picks and the prospects to maybe entice the Rangers into giving up the last couple of years of Lundqvist.
I see him going Western Conference if it were to happen.
Yeah. Regardless, we all think it's a moot point because there's no way Lundqvist is moving, is waiving his no movement clause.
Yeah.
This season, without having a crystal ball, I don't think it's going to happen next season either. He would have to be, see himself seriously decline and have the Rangers having a much better goaltending option that they want to, get to right away.
Absolutely. Like I said, it will probably happen in 2020 when Shesterkin comes over because the other guys they have in the minors, Howerson and Georgiev, they're good, but they're not NHL ready. So there's no point in trading Lundqvist when he's still got, a couple of above average seasons. I won't say great, but he's got above average seasons left in him. So, what do you think about the Flyers, though? Are they going to buy,
I think they
sell,
stay pat. I don't think. Brian Elliott did get injured last night in a really weird situation where he got injured in the shootout. Really? It looked like the stick blade of a player went into his mask or along the side of his mask, and he might have gotten hurt from that. But ultimately, it sounds like it's a lower body injury, so he might have pulled his groin in the middle of that. Yeah, so Michael Neuwirth actually had to come in and relieve him mid-shootout, which I think is the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah. Actually, I think it happened to Ryan Miller.
He did not give up a goal. Actually, the first shot he faced, the guy completely fanned on it. And it went off the left.
That's one way to start.
And didn't get any warm-up time. They didn't get to take any shots or anything like that. It was sort of a weird situation.
Yeah. You don't expect to go in as a goalie, backup goalie. You don't expect to go in a shootout. That's that's the height of the game.
We got about 5 minutes left.
He was already like popping ace of spades. Yeah, so he was already half drunk probably.
Probably, you said.
but probably. But we'll know more about Elliott's injury. He's actually been pretty decent so far this year. We'll know more about his injury. It depends on whether or not Hextall, thinks that this team can get it done. I mean, I would say no. This isn't their year yet. I think in 2 years that's when the window opens. After they fire Hextall in the offseason.
God willing.
A lot of firing going on.
So I would not want to surrender like a top prospect, somebody like Morgan Frost, who's lighting up the OHL in juniors, or maybe surrender like a pick, like maybe the Blues pick this year or something like that. I would not want to see them give up that for Lundqvist just to sort of tide them over until like the Carter Hart era starts in 2 or 3 years. I think they stand pat. I think they understand that this year is not going to be the year that they win.
Right.
They don't expect. I think they would like to get to the playoffs and get some playoff experience for the young guys. I don't think they're worried about like getting past.
Right. They'll be okay with going first round, second round.
Yeah. I think at this point the goal is just make the playoffs.
Right.
And at that point, if you're just trying to make the playoffs, I don't think that entails mortgaging your future.
Absolutely not. Nope.
So, but let's talk about some guys. Let's do a lightning round of guys on the trade block and where we think they are going to go. So, McDonough, we've said
I would say Lightning. Yeah, I think it's happening.
What about Rick Nash?
I think he stays. If McDonough goes, he stays. I think he has to help keep the team together.
Well, Rick Nash's contract expires this year, so they kind of have to move him if they want to get something for him.
Unless they decide to resign him.
But I don't see it happening now.
Knowing the Rangers fans as I do,
in the off season, maybe if they can get him, like I said, $3.5-4 million, a couple years, that'd be fine. Rick Nash will be going to Dallas or Nashville. Those are his two top choices.
I think he goes to Dallas.
Ken Hitchcock. That high-flying offense with another former 30-40 goal scorer would be that would just be ridiculous. But I mean, either team is they're both contenders, and I don't know. Nashville is looking really good right now, so why play with that charisma that they've got going? And that's probably another team I say stands pat. And we also have a couple other names, big names. Drew Doughty and Erik Karlsson have been dangled around a little bit.
Well, I don't see Karlsson going anywhere just because I think that they're going to try and call his bluff and try to re-sign him. So I don't see him being traded. And the Kings are in the playoffs, so I don't see Doughty going anywhere this season. What about probably the biggest named defenseman on the market is Mike Green?
Mike Green, I think I foresee a Washington Capitals reunion. They need a little bit of help on defense. You got a familiar face that's on the market and knows the system. Played with most of those guys in 2015, 2016. And I think that would be the right move for the Capitals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The only question is, I think, how often, because Mike Green probably is going to require a first rounder.
I say they could slip with a second rounder.
2 firsts? Or at least a first and maybe a second?
Yeah, it was a hefty price.
For Shattenkirk, who's better than Mike
much
Green.
Better.
But Mike Green is still the best defenseman out there. He's going to set the market, I think.
Yeah,
so he's probably going to require first.
The Duchesne trade kind of screwed the market all up because freaking, what's his name?
Man, that Duchesne trade. I can't mean it's unbelievable to me that Joe Sakic traded 2 other teams and somehow won.
He got like 7 freaking assets.
Like Joe Sakic, I mean, great player. Great player when he was a player. Man, I would not have pegged him as a guy who was going to like twist the arms of other GMs and fleece them for, you know, it's unbelible how well they've played since that
2
trade.
NHL ready prospects. Another, he got what, like seven assets out of that.
Yeah, and he unlocked the upgrade kit for Nathan McKinnon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who was
been
going beast
since
mode
that
until he got injured. But
the only, I mean, I have never heard any rumors or anything about this, but the only explanation is that McKinnon absolutely hated Duchesne.
I mean, seriously, you have to think
no other reason
the guy
why that guy would play that well.
Was lightening up, I should say, but who knows how much longer he'll be out. And the Avalanche are on a decline as well, so I mean, you can see how far he was carrying that team. They went into the playoff spot, but now, you know, they're on the decline a little bit because their top guy, one of the top scorers in the NHL at that point, he's out for, I believe, like 8 weeks or so, something. He's out for quite a while.
Oh, I didn't know he was out that long.
Yeah,
he was out a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think they're saying concussion or shoulder or something. You know, head shoulder injury. I don't know.
Head, shoulder injury.
One of those
undisclosed upper body injury.
The general area. Yeah.
They love it. Be very unspecific about that. Well, as far as the lighting, I really don't see them making a whole lot of roster changes. They're doing what works, and they have quite a deep talent pool. If they do want to pull in McDonough, that's on them, the organization, and he's going to be a playoff experienced fella, and certainly would help to strengthen New York Rangers South.
And
I just can't see who they would want to give up to get him.
It won't be anyone on the roster right now.
You think draft picks?
It'll be or
from our farm
draft
system?
pick. Yeah, there's 2 guys in specific. Cal Foote, who is supposed to be a phenomenal defenseman, and Taylor Radish, who's actually one of the top 10 prospects right now. I believe he's a right wing, and the Rangers could really use a scoring forward. And if they're going to move McDonough, then you got to move it for some offense, because we have the defense, like I said earlier, sitting in the system waiting to play. So that would be the move I would do. You go for Cal Foote and Taylor Radish for Ryan McDonough, and call it a day.
Yeah, I don't know. My feelings now that we have such a great farm system, so deeply entrenched and doing fantastic. I feel very guarded about wanting to give away, early players.
Especially the high-end prospects.
Guy. He's shown he's NHL capable. He'll probably be a great fit on your team.
Well, it's sort of like draft picks. Like draft picks have the most value before you use them.
True.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the Sergachev trade. I mean, they weren't giving him any time in Montreal. The guy comes over to the Lightning and he's having a great season.
Yeah.
And Druin is not having a great season. So
that was
Lightning
one of our
won
best
that trade as well.
That was one of our best trades lately.
The only thing I'm worried about is Steve Yzerman basically bending Gordon over and just, screwing them completely for McDonough.
Well, we're talking about, the Rangers going into a rebuilding era. I mean, do you think you don't think Alain Mignon is the right guy?
No,
to keep going? Absolutely not. Do you think Jeff Gordon is the guy who should be in charge there?
I mean, he had a great track record of going. He basically made Boston's team that they have now, and there's all this hype about the guy taking over for Sather, and so far it's been a dud. But I think he's doing the right thing. He knows what he's doing, and it's just tough to get out of the hole that Sather put him in, because they didn't have a first-round pick for 4 or 5 seasons, or a second-round pick for the last 2 or 3. So it's tough to build a team, or a system rather, when you don't have anyone to pick.
Yeah. Very
so
true.
and now they're finally getting those draft picks back, and he can do his work. So I think he's the right guy. But like AV, hell no. I think Darryl Suter is still out there, and be a great midseason change. Just saying.
Well, why not? When moving all these people around and stuff like that, you need to have the brains that to be able to have that vision and say, okay, well, we'll go ahead and we'll lose this little bit of talent to give up, to get a chance at maybe some better young, fresh talent and picking the right guys. Because, like you said, first, draft picks are only as valuable before they get picked. You never know if anybody's going to be a solid pick or if they're going to end up being a bust. So,
yeah, there's only select.
There's a lot of uncertainty.
And sort of similar to that, prospects have much more value before they play in the NHL.
Yeah. Oh yes,
they may play great in the minor leagues, but NHL is a different game.
You look at them through the prism of this guy's going to be great someday,
right?
But as soon as they get into the NHL and they might struggle, something like Nolan Patrick had a really rough start for the Flyers. Like a rough first half of the season. And he definitely went from, we got the number 2 pick to, oh man, this guy's not looking so good.
But again, for rookie season, not everyone's going to be Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby. Yes,
that's the exception rather than the rule.
Yeah, well, and those guys are the generational defining talents.
Which we have one coming up. Rasmus Dahlin is supposed to be.
He's so much
some
fun to
defenseman,
watch.
and whoever gets in, hopefully it's the Oilers, but he'll be their friend.
Hopefully it's the Oilers.
Yeah, when the Oilers are on their 9th number 1 pick in 11 years.
Hey, why not? They've been in, I've been in their favor this long. Why not one more time?
Yeah. No, Edmonton ownership must have some kind of blackmail on Carey Bettman.
Yeah, it's something.
Hey,
I don't mind. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's your second team.
Yeah, and my third team, Vegas Golden Knights.
I'll say there you bumped them down to third. So Oilers
they've always been third. Yeah. Well, since this season, I should say. Since this season, they've been third.
This is their first season, so that makes sense.
Can't call me a bandwagon because I did say at the beginning of the season that I would be watching and be rooting for them if the Oilers and the Rangers kind of shit the bed, which I did not think was going to happen, but it did. So
kind of surprised all of us.
Vegas number 1.
The Oilers shitting the bed definitely happened sooner than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, big disappointment.
Sure.
Very big.
I thought that was going to be in 2 years. I thought the Oilers were going to drop off. I thought they still had a window open, and
absolutely. But now Vegas being number 1 in the league right now. Do they make a move for a savvy veteran? No.
They stay put.
They got to stay put. Not just because, it's not just that you have faith in the guys in the locker room and they've come this far, but they don't have a farm system. What are they going to trade away?
They got a couple guys. They got a couple guys. Cody Glass, Nick Suzuki.
Yeah, but they need those guys in a couple of years.
Yeah,
they can't.
Obviously,
they can't trade them away for Ryan McDonough.
Right.
They can't trade him away for
they may
Hoffman from.
I heard that they were gunning for Carlson at one point, but the guy's going to be looking for 3 first-round draft picks.
There are 30 teams gunning for Carlson.
But so staying put. That's probably the best idea. I still think they make a small move on the defensive side.
And plus,
maybe
they're already probably the greatest expansion franchise in the history of sports, not just the NHL, in the history of sports. And it's you can't mortgage your future, trying to win a cup in your very first season. Although I think everybody would love to see that happen.
That would be insane.
That would be absolutely
outside nuts. Of Cheyenne, because he's the one. He's the one fan of a contender.
Yeah.
No. We've been gunning for our second cup for a long time here. In the last 5-6 years, there's been sputters and starts and missteps, injuries, and this so far looks like the strongest the Lightning have come out of the box for sure, and they are leading the league with 79 points. The Knights are at 76. Still up there. They, and Predators are 75. There's a little bit of jockeying going on there, but I'd be more than happy for the Knights to have the President's Cup. They can have it. I would go so far as to say that Cooper will throw the last 3 or 4 games to make sure they don't get the President's Cup. Not that that's legal or anything, but that would totally happen on my team.
NBA does it, NFL does it. Why not?
But it would be fantastic for a first-year franchise to win a championship. And if you guys remember when the Carolina Panthers first came into the NFL, along with what was the other team they expanded with? It was
Jaguars?
Panthers and the Jaguars, and they were both gunning for the playoffs. And I'm not sure if they made it to the first round or not, but it would have been interesting to see 2 expansion teams playing against each other in the Super Bowl, and people were like, maybe this will happen. And as the season went on, people were like, this might happen. Wow, this is incredible. So I think they put the people who get these new franchises, they put a lot of time, a lot of energy into just getting the team. They don't want to just put together a crap team. So, and then we talked about the Lightning, the documentary they were doing because it's 25 years. They first put their team together. They were trying to piece together a decent team, but they played so well together. All these these outcasts from other teams, they just were able to find a chemistry. And I think that's what the Golden Knights are doing. They've found really good chemistry with one another, bonding together over the fact that they were handpicked to be on this team, and they're just grabbing the bull by the horns.
And also, I think there's a chip on their shoulder because their team said, well, we don't want these guys.
Right.
It's okay that they are taken by another franchise. So I think there's definitely, an extra motivation there.
I think you got 7 or 8 guys that are having career years. So, there's definitely something to be said about that. And do I see this success continuing for the next couple of years? I don't know. I think it's first year. They're running on that adrenaline, and it'll be awesome to see them win a cup. But I still think next year after that, they'll be what we thought they would. Is just bubble team or bottom 10. Yeah. And they'll start stockpiling those draft picks and building the team that they want.
And they've already stockpiled a bunch from sort of the side draft deals they made, from basically agreeing not to take certain players from other teams. They said, "All right, we'll throw us a second rounder and we'll lay off your guy." Right. So they've already done that. I kind of agree with you. I think that this year's kind of the magical year. I don't necessarily see them repeating the success next year or the year after that. But I would love, seeing the Eagles win the Super Bowl last weekend. Get that in there. Gotta get it
Absolutely.
in there. But we did get to see a great parade, a great championship parade going down Broad Street and going to the Art Museum. We did get to see a great parade there. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking, I wonder what seeing Vegas, have a Stanley Cup parade on the Strip. The Las Vegas Strip.
A lot of strippers and cocaine. But the thing I found interesting about the Eagles parade was apparently there was a greased pole climbing competition going on. That sounds like something I want to enter.
I did see
phrasing.
I did see a few ladies pole dancing on those poles. So go Birds. That's all I gotta say. Go Birds.
Congratulations to Philadelphia. Yeah. I'm sure will not be repeated. It's so difficult in any professional sport to repeat as champions. It really is, unless you're cheating. Or you're
only one team.
Or you're backed by the commissioner. Yeah.
Well, apparently the Eagles did have a fake walkthrough in case the Patriots were videotaping them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And allegedly, there were supposed to be the stadium was supposed to be completely empty when they did their walkthrough, but the players were saying, "Oh no, there were other people there who weren't supposed to be there." There were supposed to just be security guards, but apparently there were other people there who were seeing. So maybe a little bit of gamesmanship there, a double bluff, where the Eagles had a fake walkthrough, and then the Patriots weren't expecting the quarterback. The tight end pass.
To
Nick Foles.
That was
Philly special.
One of the greatest plays in Super Bowl history.
I think second only to that 4th and 1 was on the 35-yard line at their own end. It's like either you get that yard or Brady takes over and throws one ball for 35 yards and gets a touchdown.
Game where no defense was something for the Pentagon to worry about in that game. There was no defense being played until the very last play.
It was.
It was the first turnover of the
game. When Brady got sacked.
Yeah,
that was the first sack of the game.
Yeah, that was a very tight game the whole way. I think everybody was real happy with the outcome just because it wasn't a blowout one way or the other, and the Patriots lost. So everybody wins.
That's right. Couldn't be happier.
That concludes our show today. I would like to thank tonight's sponsors, Steak and Shake, home of the Frisco Melt, Dr. Sean Hansen, chiropractor to the stars at Tarpon Total Healthcare, and Emergency Drinking Beer. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, which are all linked on our website, Misfit Boys Hockey with a Z. Thank you for listening, and #LSB Haley.